Honorable Cletus Avoka is MP for Zebilla. He's been MP for at least 6 of the 8 parliaments, if I'm not mistaken. He's a retentionist for the sake of today's argument. Honorable, thanks for joining the show. Why do you still feel strongly that the death penalty should stay?
Good morning, Bernard.
Morning.
And then my best regards to the panelists there. They are my very good friends. Yes, you are right. This is my 6th term in Parliament. And interested to know that I've contested all the elections in the Fourth Republic since 1992 to date. Made 6 of them and didn't make the other 2. So I'm exiting Parliament in 2024. I won't contest again.
Wow.
Now, let's come back to this argument. I'm a member of the Committee on the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs handling this bill. And then the proponent of the bill is a private member's bill proposed by the Honorable Member for Medina, Honorable Susu Xavier. And right for the past year or more, where we have been handling the bill this at the community level, the argument that they have fostered in favor of the abolition of the death penalty, the first argument was one on human rights. They started with this argument: human rights does not allow you to take somebody's life. Human rights. And I've had occasion to attend some of these meetings outside Parliament in some of these Western countries, embassies or high commissions in Accra here. And then as we went on, it came to light that they came to realize, the abolitionists came to realize that they cannot pursue or win the argument based on human rights. They say, you are talking about human rights. Somebody commits murder, gruesome murder, heinous murder, aggravated murder. If we go through some of the circumstances under which they commit some of these crimes, like the 2 honorable members, the Zebilla and then the Zebilla MP, etc., and then you take Swale and others, the journalist Swale and others, the manner in which they commit these crimes. Then you say that those who have died, they have no human rights. They were right to take their life. The one who committed the murder, he has a human right to live. And we know that there are some of these occasions when you condemn somebody to life imprisonment, anything can happen. After 2-3 years, given our political dimensions, after 2-3 years, he can be pardoned by the sitting president, and he comes out roaming in town. Anything can happen to him. And we know what happens in the prisons. Some of them who are resourceful, we know how they influence prison authorities, and they are as comfortable there as they are outside, except that they can't drive freely and whatnot, but they meet their families extra, and they are comfortable. They did not balance this against the victims. The spouses who are alive, then who have survived the other person's murder, the children, and the family, the trauma that the family has gone through, the pain, the anxiety, the loss of their dear one, politically, socially, economically. They didn't. So along the line, when we were moving the boats in Parliament last week, they seem to have abandoned this argument of human rights because it doesn't convince anybody. It rather annoys people when you say that somebody has killed enough number of people, killed somebody, and the circumstances that you couldn't have done it. For example, look at Zebilla. You go midnight, a fence wall, a fence house, then you go and look for a ladder. Then you come and climb the ladder. You identify his room and go there and gruesomely murder him. Then you talk about human rights. We are not balancing the sensibilities and the feelings of the people. We are not balancing that equation. So that's one, they were knocked out. So they abandoned the argument of human rights. Then the major argument they advanced in Parliament was judicial uncertainty. That they tried some people, and then later on they found out that those trials where there was a mistake. So if they make a mistake and they kill somebody, and therefore it's wrong. I drew the attention. I said that, look, we must differentiate between murder trial that is very, very rigorous and laborious, and as compared to a civil trial where you have several factors that can play, including corruption, extra. where you can have a judgment in your favor and then you are not entitled to it. Now, let me explain jury trial or murder trial. If somebody is charged with murder, so even if he cannot provide a lawyer of his own, the state provides him a lawyer free of charge to him, because the state appreciates the fact that it's not easy to take some innocent fellow's life. So they will give you all the necessary support to be able to defend yourself adequately. So they will provide you with a lawyer, and the state will pay that lawyer. Number two, a murder trial is not tried by one judge or two justices. No, it's tried by a jury system, by jurors. And there are 7 of them. And then the law says that, look, we don't want to take technical people to serve as a juror and then convict someone unnecessarily. Let's bring ordinary people from the community where the accused is. That they think and they behave like the accused person. Let's bring ordinary people, 7 of them, to try him. They have the same thinking, the same sensibility, the same beliefs, and the rest of them. So they have empaneled a jury. And at the end of the day, if the decision must be unanimous, the decision, the verdict of the jury must be unanimous. The judge is only there to provide direction of law, but the decision is taken by the ordinary people, 7 of them. If one of them says that he does not agree or other reasons, then the fellow is free. It must be a unanimous verdict. And besides that, even if he's convicted by the jury, he has opportunity to appeal to the Court of Appeal. If the case was tried by the High Court, he has opportunity to appeal to the Court of Appeal. He has opportunity to appeal to the Supreme Court because he has a lawyer representing him if they think they have a case. So if we talk about this judicial uncertainty, as far as a murder trial is concerned, it's a non-starter because the processes are rigorous. I mean, some of them they trial last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Look at J.B. Danqua's murder case. Even I see the one who is standing trial there and one of them, he's talking, complaining about, he has to do this and that and whatnot. He's asking for favors. How will the family feel like when this is happening? Now they talk about no deterrence. Your panelists will talk about nowhere has it been established that where the death penalty exists and there's a deterrent. In our society, there's a deterrent. In any case, where is the evidence in Ghana to suggest that if the death penalty was taken out of statute, then people will not commit murder? What is there to show? In fact, it is even safer to argue that we are having fewer of these murderous or heinous crimes because of the existence of the death penalty. If we take the death penalty out, 2 things will happen. One, already the public does not have confidence in the judicial system. And then you can't go around and tell Ghanaians that if you kill somebody, they can only sentence you to imprisonment, life imprisonment. You will not die. Then you are inviting Ghanaians to take the law into their own hands and do instant justice. They are already doing it. They are already doing instant justice because they don't have trust in the judicial system. If you add this law there, you have abolished this law, you add it there, then you have created a leeway for people to do self-help, to do instant justice. Even if we send him, they only imprison him. He will not also die. Our loved one is gone. So let us also finish him. We should avoid that. We, those who are against the abolition, is saying that you surrender the Ghanaian community to criminals. You are going to surrender the Ghanaian society to criminals.
Yeah, but Honorable, the question they ask for people like you is that the countries, the 7 least violent countries in the world, New Zealand, Ireland, Denmark, Austria, I think I forget the rest. These countries have abolished the death penalty, and it has not led to an increase in crime. All right. So removing the death penalty does not necessarily mean people will want to commit more violent crimes. On the contrary, in states where the death penalty exists in the US, you have more violence. So the argument is that removing the death penalty is actually better than keeping it there, because keeping the death penalty there is not deterring anybody anyway. So
there's very, very little logic in this argument. Let's limit ourselves to our jurisdiction, where we come from, where we live, who we are, our values, and the rest of them. Look, we have a saying in my language, in my tradition, Kusar, that you imitate your friend's good style of dancing. If your friend has a very good, attractive style of dancing, you imitate that. You don't imitate his way of doing things or his life. Because the dancing style is harmless. So somebody dancing very well, I want to imitate it. It's harmless. But I don't follow his lifestyle because he may be a smoker, a weed smoker, he may be a thief, he may be a rapist, and the rest of them. I don't copy that. So this blind way of giving examples with the greatest respect about other countries where they have abolished it or they have not abolished it and the rest of them is neither here nor there. Let's talk to ourselves. How many of these countries did instant justice? How many of these countries they have mentioned that they take the law into their own hands? America. Last week, I went to the American embassy. I was invited there. They were celebrating 247th anniversary of independence. 247 years of independence. You are talking about Fourth Republic, 30 years, or you are talking about independence of Ghana, 66 years. And you think that the laws that they have been passing, the country that was independent in 247 years ago, we can pass laws today to equal them. It's just saying that you are born a child, the child learns to walk and start running.
Okay, but again, the examples I give, there are also examples like Burkina Faso, Benin, Senegal, Sierra Leone, Central African Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Zambia, who all have abolished the death penalty. Now, these are our neighboring countries. In fact, all these countries... No, this is true. These are facts you can confirm.
Yeah.
All these in fact, 56 Commonwealth countries have abolished the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Ghana is in the league of only 7 Commonwealth countries that still have it on their law books. So if you think about it, within our West African peers, we are almost an outlier. In the Commonwealth Committee of Nations, we are an outlier. And you can't tell me that having that death penalty on our status books deters crime. You can't say there's more crime in Ghana or there's less crime in Ghana than there is in, say, Senegal because of the death penalty. So I'm not using just America and European context. I'm giving you West African examples and Commonwealth country examples where Ghana appears to be one of the few countries that keeps the law on their books.
Yeah, but then let's talk about the LGBTQ.
Oh. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going with this?
Yes. Many countries are quiet about it in Africa. Besides Zambia or Uganda that passed the law and one or two others. We have how many countries in Africa? How many of them are talking about LGBTQ? But look at the Ghanaian population. 90% of us are in favor of the passage of that bill. So let's limit ourselves to our horizon. Yes, it's good to have best international practices. Nobody doubts that. But there are peculiar circumstances that we should be addressing. And I'm saying that our political orientation is different from elsewhere. I'll give you an example of somebody can be sentenced to this life imprisonment. And then after 3, 4, 5 years, another president comes in pardon. And it is common knowledge that this political interference is not good enough to sustain our judicial system and then the social system that we are talking about. If they talk about reform, deterrence. This deterrent thing, there's no empirical proof that in Ghana today, if you abolish the death penalty, then people will not commit crimes, heinous crimes. There's no evidence. There's nothing to support it. So look at the international community I talk about. Look, America and then the advanced countries. Why are they manufacturing the atomic bomb? Why is it there? Why are they manufacturing weapons of mass destruction? Are they not killing human beings? Do they care about that? They are doing that because for a rainy day. They want to protect a rainy day. And we, those who are proponents of the retention of the law, is saying that there is a rainy day. In any case, they are not going to execute him. Let him be there. The rainy day is there. We should, I heard the argument earlier. Indeed, there are some offenses that we can take off from the death penalty rule. For example, this smuggling of diamond or minerals and the rest of them. I don't think that we should sentence people to death by squaring or the guillotine and the rest of them. We can look at some of the laws and then eliminate them. But this wholesale abolition of the death penalty in Ghana is problematic. Look, the Constitution is the spirit and life wire of this country. The spirit of the country is in the Constitution. Article 3.3 says what? Not even that you overthrow the government, but if you plan and you are caught, or if you are an abettor and you are caught, then they execute you. That's the spirit of the Constitution.
Let me give you my last pushback for your response. So I am reliably informed that Justice Tokonu, who is now the CJ, said that the death penalty is too final. That when we are thinking about the fact of judicial uncertainty, people are falsely accused all the time. Courts don't exactly determine truth, but reach conclusions relying largely on what they are supplied by the litigants. How do you bring the dead back when it is later discovered that you wrongly convicted them? So the finality of the death penalty, and then the BT Baba example, where he was the former director of prisons who gave the very sad narration of how in carrying out a death penalty, one person was wrongfully added, which they later discovered was not part of the original set who were to be killed. No amount of compensation will bring those people back. And the maxim is that it is better to have one innocent man free than 99 guilty people walk free. Or it's better to have, so if one person who is innocent is killed, is worse than having 99 guilty people walking free. So that is the maxim that seems to support this death penalty is too final argument.
All right. Bernard, there are several common law principles on this. If we talk about the principle or the essence of punishment, 1 is reformative, 2 retributive, and then 3 is a deterrent. So out of the 3, reformative is the only one that is going one way. The retributive and then the deterrent are 2 going another way. That is also a common law principle. That to deter and then to serve as a deterrent, not only as a deterrent, but to serve as eye for an eye, like the Bible talks about it. So if you can argue for and against, but we should take the whole holistic sentiments of the country in consideration. If Ghana as a country thinks that this is the bill that we ought to have passed, it should be owned by the government. I'm aware that the Learned Attorney General came to Parliament last year to answer a question on this death penalty and said that the death penalty is sustainable and then must remain in the statute books of Ghana, the Attorney General of Ghana. He said it on the floor of the House when we were answering a question. And I remember when we were approving the nomination of ministers, the Deputy Minister, Mr. Tua or so, I commended him on the floor of the House because at the vetting committee proceedings, he vehemently also was against the abolition of the death penalty. Now, if our president, His Excellency, had gone to international conferences and then maintained a different position, why does the government not own the bill?
Yeah, but the president has. The president has, because in December last year...
I'm saying, this is a private member's bill.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the president of Ghana voted in support of abolition of the death penalty.
I'm saying that if that is so, why didn't the government own the bill from the very word go? As a national consensus.
I'm coming.
As a national bill. Why private members did? And I'm saying that this has not, it doesn't have the appeal. Like the LGBTQ that we have gone around the country and everybody, whether you are a religious person or non-religious or whatever, people, more than half of the people of Ghana, 90% are against this death penalty. Go around the country and see how many people will support it. You will not have 50% of Ghanaians saying they should abolish it because of what they go through. Look, as a few years back while I was in Parliament, you are aware about the Road Traffic Act that we have, not the current one. The former one was that if you were involved, if you had an accident with your car, you killed somebody along the road, extra, they tried to careless driving and negligently causing harm. But later on, it was changed. The road traffic offense now was changed to they'll charge you also with murder. Why did they do that? Because of the practice that we had in the country. For example, there are young students or religious groups or people having fun on the road, like Fire Festival, this festival, Omowo, and the rest of them. Then you drive and then you get there, and then they give you all the warning signals that there are people on the road, slow down or don't go, and you drive through the people and kill 10, 20, 30 of them. Then they tell your vehicle, not that you have any mechanical challenge, not that you have any defective brakes or system and whatnot. You just did that intentionally. And you say that fellow, you are not sure about the judicial system. This fellow sentenced you to life imprisonment. When he has killed 20, 30 innocent lives intentionally.
Mm.
And don't forget that the charge of murder is intentionally and unlawfully taking the life of somebody else. If it is not intentional, but it is even only lawful, then it's manslaughter. You don't die. But they are talking about intention.
All right, so if I understand your argument in summary, you're saying that while the death penalty can go for things like smuggling of diamond and gold,
yes,
for murder in particular,
yeah.
the death penalty should be maintained because murder is defined as the intentional ending of a person's life.
Exactly.
And if a person is so found to have committed murder and the death penalty should stay. And also, you do not see how the context of the 7 least violent countries and the US can be applied here because we are in different levels of development. Ghana has its own particular history, and that you think that if we put this to a national referendum, more Ghanaians would vote to keep the death penalty on our statute books. You are strongly in view of that. You think this?
Yes, that is my view. You have said it correctly. And then we are keeping the law there for the rainy day. And let me give this stark example. In 1973, I was in the law faculty. I started law in 1970.
Yes. Hello? Yes, go ahead. You started law in 1973?
Yeah, 73, yes. When you were charged with murder, the lawyers did exploration on the criminal procedure code and then came out with this concept, this provision there of plea bargaining. Nobody had used that provision in the act since the act was passed in 1960. Nobody had used it. But they took advantage of the provision and used it. Plea bargaining of some sort. So let this law remain in the statute book. When it becomes necessary for us to use it, we will use it. If it is not necessary, they'll sentence you to life for 30 years. We haven't killed anybody. Is there any harm? We haven't killed nobody. Has somebody gone to court to force the president's hand to execute anybody? No. So what is our problem? Let the law remain there for the rainy day, which you can never foresee, which you can never tell. Given the type of society we have, if you remove the law now, you are opening a Pandora box for criminals to do what they want. Not only criminals, but even decent people in society to take the law into their own hands and execute people on site.
All right.
That is very dangerous.
I thank you.
If our bid to curtail one man's life, then we are exposing several people to death.
All right. Thank you for your submissions, Honorable Cletus Avoka.